All right. Had a little technical difficulties. This is crazy, but we're back.
We're back.
So where did we leave off?
I was talking about how, I was wondering if my grandma was passing was a catalyst to why. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
It was a catalyst as to why I started becoming distant. Not so much with just family, but in general. Because I don't like being around. I'm an introvert, so like being around people is
It's really
being around people is draining for me, and so I enjoy my time by myself, and because it recharges me, and that's when I run through things in my mind and I wrote things out. So, but I know like getting older, but getting older is like the more I kind of distance myself around. This is myself and people, and my circle has always been small, but like now it's like I don't hang out. I don't do a lot of things. I don't go to like events where there's a bunch of people, but now I'm wondering and I'm thinking if it kicked into like high gear once he passed. So
it can be different. I know, with Pop's death, it took a toll on a lot of people. Even with Uncle Rick, unexpected. Like Uncle Rick was something special to us.
Yeah, I wasn't even here. I was in Korea.
You were?
I was in Korea when that happened.
Bad snowstorm, and it's just something that we kind of deal with as we go. But like I said, the last couple of months dealing with different people and them dealing with death has been, extremely hard. And it's something, like I said, even with dealing with someone that is sick and you're hoping that they get better, but they don't. And it's a struggle.
Yeah.
And it can send you into a depression that you may not be able to handle. And you have to bring the right people around you to help you with that, whether you're going to therapy, whether you have people praying for you, whether you're going to church, whatever it may be. I think that you definitely have to have a good support system around you to uplift you on a daily basis. Like I know for my friend, I call her my sister, we're so close, and she lost her mom the end of July, and at her celebration of life, someone said, she's not the person that's going to call people and ask people for anything. And some people are like that. Some people will not tell you that they're suffering inside. It may be through actions of them, and it may be so crazy, but I totally get where some people are with going into a dark place, because I went in a dark place for a time period. Like, and my ultimate thing that I took out of that is I don't trust people, just based on how it went down with my grandparents. I don't.
Yeah, I can see how it can change relationships.
It does.
We're going for that grieving period, and changes relationships, and you see people in a different light. And yeah, that can definitely I can see that, and hearing you say that, and a couple things that you said. You talking about depression, and I think that when we hear the word depression, we think of the extreme.
Yes.
I think something that we don't we don't discuss, and is that like I think there's levels of depression.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So just because we hear someone say that they're feeling depressed doesn't mean that extreme level of depressed or they're in the extremes of depression. I think it's different levels to it, and and we can't because we can't understand it or we don't understand why that person says that they're depressed, that we can't words mean something. So we have to be careful how we respond to, when someone
Absolutely.
says they're going through something. So nothing wrong with taking a minute and kind of just like don't respond, but just to take a minute to listen before you respond and kind of understand, and maybe ask clarifying questions of like I would say you're depressed, like what is that? What does that mean? Like what does that mean for you? Mm-hmm. How do you feel you're depressed? So so that way we're not saying the wrong thing or we're not pushing them further into depression.
Yes.
In our attempt to
support them.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big part as a family member, supportive friend, anybody. You definitely have to watch everything that you say because they are emotional in an emotional state, and it can be very difficult for them. Some things may be taken out of context. Some things may be taken as offensive. And I think that you definitely have to watch what you say and how you say it, how it's delivered.
Yeah. And then supporting others. So I was talking to a friend of mine, and her mother had passed unexpectedly. And she was saying how a coworker supported her by buying her household things that she would need, like toilet paper.
Oh, really?
Napkins. Yeah, and she was like, it really helped her because instead of, because of marketing, everybody wants to buy flowers, they buy cards,
yes,
for these events, and it's all because of marketing, and you see it on TV, so
mm-hmm.
it. But when she told me that, I was like, I found that so profound.
Yeah, that's definitely different. Something that I never heard anyone do.
Right, and I was like that. I feel like that was so profound because the first thing that we want to do when we want to get something for someone who's grieving is you want to get flowers, but flowers die.
Yes. Now, with that, you have to be careful about them staying too long as well. I didn't realize that until someone had sent my grandmother flowers when my grandfather passed away, and like just looking at them, and a family member said, "You need to get those flowers out of here," and I was just like, "Why?" And they said, "Because it's depressing." So it was something that I wasn't paying attention to at all. So I get what you're saying, like support them in different ways.
Right. So yeah, but I thought that was very interesting, and I was like, that's probably something I would adopt. Is, to not to get
the normal things,
but stuff that's you probably would think that I shouldn't do that, or this is what that's all because of marketing. But why not get someone who lost a significant other, stuff that
they need, they're going to need,
stuff they need and stuff they use on a regular. Because they probably they may not want to leave the house, or they may not want to be around people for a certain amount of time. So until they get to that point where they're ready to get back to interacting out in the public.
Yes.
What's wrong with getting and she said she bought her like 3 to 5 months supply of like paper towels and napkins and toilet paper and that type of stuff. And she said it really helped her, and it was generally needed. And but another thing, when you pitch that we talk about grieving, in that time frame that that you talked about, that I have you heard or watched the IG video? And this woman was talking about how her mom had passed, and she said,
"Oh, don't do it to me again." You there?
"Is when
you're back. You went out. It's saying your internet is unstable. Oh my gosh. Go ahead.
Okay, so I was talking about, I watched this IG video, and this woman was talking about her mom passed, and they buried her mom on Saturday, and she was like, the next day everybody went back to
their normal.
Right. And she said it didn't click for her. So what happened was they buried her mom on Saturday, and on Monday, she was like, "Oh, I got to call my mom today because we got to do lunch." And her husband was like, "What are you talking about?" And she was like, "I got to call my mom. We got to do lunch because we always do lunch and blah blah blah." And he was like, "We buried your mom on Saturday."
Really?
And she was like, it clicked, and she lost it, and like she got historical, and she was saying how she just had this
mental breakdown.
Right. And she was like, she was just sobbing, she was upset, she was doing things because it didn't click.
No, the process, I want to talk about this too. When you're in that period of when they die and the funeral or celebration of life, right? There's so many people that's there. You don't know if you're coming or going. It's like clockwork. Like you're not sleeping. You're losing your mind. You're going through a process of planning a funeral. You're meeting with funeral homes or the planner, and you're picking out caskets and flowers, and it's just something that is an outer body experience. It was for me. Like I had never went through the process of picking out casket, flowers. You got to take pictures down there and pick out their outfit and find venues. It's exhausting, totally exhausting. Like it's something that I'm sure people that can relate will understand. Very exhausting. Coming up with money to try to make sure that things are taken care of. And if you don't have it, you don't have it. Like,
right.
So you get lost in the mix of everything. And I totally get where she's at. And back to your point about the workplace. I think that people need to be more understanding when you go through that process at the workplace, because each time I never had a break of getting a more than a day within going back to work from a funeral. So if we had the funeral on a Friday or Saturday, I was back to work on Monday. I didn't have that option like others. You take your leave for an extended period, FMLA. Some people did. I didn't have that option because I had to get back. I had schedules to meet. So like that plays a part in it as well. When schedules need to be met or budgets need to be met in the workplace, they don't care. They really don't. You better be thankful you get a card, because I didn't. So you just have to like even with that, it made me think, man, these people are with me every day, more than I'm with my kids, more hours. And one person or two people out of hundreds of people give me cards that I'm talking to on a daily basis. It makes you think like business is business. But if I'm talking to you on a personal level, why can't you relate to me on that level of I know you're grieving, here's something for you, or I'm thinking about you. It doesn't have to be anything. It can be a hug. It can be just saying anything. But if you say nothing, as if business is business, then it makes me question, man, is it really that deep? Why am I even here? Maybe I need to be around people that really care about me. But do you get that in any workplace?
That's interesting. Because it's like you go to work and you work with these people, but do you really build
relationships?
You know, do y'all really have that relationship? Because it's it's easy to remove yourself when you're not connected to it. So like are we really building relationships at work where they have that ability to be like, hey, I know you're going through this, thinking about you, or if you need anything, just let me know. You know what I mean? Versus like, in your mind, you're just like, oh, they lost somebody. Sorry to hear that. You get that TPS report? So I mean, it's like,
get out of my face right now, especially on Monday morning.
But again, like you said, you can't expect you
out of other people
because everyone doesn't paint the same. Everyone doesn't feel the same. Some people are numb to death, or depending on their how they grew up, their socialization, what they went through in their life. Like some people may have become numb, and it's like it's just enough. It happens.
Yes,
people feel that way. It's like it happens. It's what happens. It's it's get over. But at the same token, like again, you can't expect you out of someone else. Yes. So if it's if you're numb to it, doesn't mean that I can numb to it. Or if you have a certain type of feeling towards death or someone grieving or whatever, doesn't mean that you feel the same way. So, and like I think that transcends in so many other aspects.
Yes.
That it's just interesting. Yeah, it's interesting how we interact. It's interesting how we take things, our behaviors. It's a lot.
A lot to life. And like I said, no college prepares you for that part of life at all. No value to money at all when you go through grieving. And like I said, the different phases of it. It can be a year when you have your mental breakdown, a year later, 2 years later, 6 months. It doesn't matter. But when it catches up to you, it will definitely catch up to you and totally break you down to the point where it's just like, man, like going to a restaurant that you used to go to with someone, or like I said, holidays were extremely important to us. Like it was always over the top big, hundreds of gifts underneath the tree. And it was hard for my kids and me that year, 2017, not having both of them there. And then they're used to having the big tree and getting all these gifts, and because that's what they did. My grandfather started shopping in September, October. He was done by the end of October with Christmas gifts.
I see.
And it was so much stuff every single year from when I was a baby until 2017. So my kids got to experience that. And when they didn't, it was a huge wake-up call. Huge. Not having not only the people there, but everything changing right before our eyes. So it's difficult.
Yeah, it is.
And kids deal with things differently too. You definitely have to, not only if you have kids, you're going through your grieving process and they're going through their grieving process as well. And some people don't talk about it. They just keep going. For me, that hit me at basketball season in 2017. So I can continue to be on the run and not think about nothing that had gone on for up until March. And then March, okay, now I need to start processing what's going on. How can I get back to my old self? How how can we all get back to our old self? But it takes time.
Yeah, I don't think you fully get back.
I don't think you do either.
I don't think you fully get back. I think you get close. Mm-hmm. But there were, those connections were a part of your life, so that connection is no longer there. So you can't get back to there because that connection is no longer there.
Yes.
So I don't think you never get back. You get to a new normal. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's definitely difficult, and I think more conversations need to be had prior to. It's something that we say a lot. You hear a lot. Like when you start having these conversations early, but it's hard. And it's how do you start that conversation? How do you have that conversation? Mm-hmm. How do you talk about? Do you have life insurance? You know what I mean? When is a good time to talk about life insurance?
I don't know why it's so uncomfortable. If you have life insurance, your kids or your grandkids should not be running around saying, hey, where's your policy? What's the number? How much money is it? Like, we should know that.
Yeah. What kind of burial do you want?
Absolutely. That's a big thing too, right? Like,
do you want a casket? Do you want to be buried? Do you want to be cremated?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
That causes friction in families too.
Right. Because now you leaving it up to other people, and some people have their preference on how their preference on how things should be done. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But what kind of burial do you want? You know what I mean? Like,
some people don't want the full service. Some people want, put me in a casket, put me in the dirt. There needs to be no singing, no nothing, no feeding people afterward.
Yeah, that's a conversation. And then when you talking about significant others or parents and their children, because like if you're gone, then it's about that next person that's
yes.
Coming. You may not want this, but I may want this. So what is, where's the collaboration? Where can we come and meet in the middle of like where we're both happy?
Yes.
In this event. So conversations that need to be had.
It definitely does.
It's hard, but it's stuff that we gotta push through and have like what you want done with your assets.
Yes.
Is there a plan for your assets? You know what I mean? And we shouldn't be waiting until. I don't think we should be waiting until it's getting close to that time. Like these conversations we should be having early.
Yeah,
having these conversations early and figuring that stuff out. And if it changes,
then you change the paperwork. This is the thing that got us. If you change anything, you have to electronically file it with the Register of Wills or anything, filing period. Get that down there to Register of Wills. Be in constant communication with them if you can, at least yearly, to make sure that stuff is together. If rules change, if instructions change, that because we fell into that trap of the will wasn't filed electronically. So now there's really no will. So it's free hands. So anybody can go up there and say, hey, I am who I am, and it's all mine. And that they didn't want it that way. And then you have to deal with that for yourself, your own selfishness. Because we all have a judgment day. And like I said, money comes and goes. Family is very important at the end of the day. We may not get along all the time. We may argue, we may fight, but family is family. And just treat people right. That's all I can say from my experiences, because you will have time to, answer for your stuff. We all do.
Yeah.
But I say take advantage of enjoying your family while they're here, because we can be gone tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I thank God for the Tolson family, because no matter how each of us have our own ways, we're very different and one and the same as well. But we are a family that is family comes first, nothing else. And that's what we were taught.
Yeah.
So, it's extremely important, but sometimes we get away from that for whatever reason.
I think it's just time. It's just growth. You know what I mean? Like everyone's family, individual families are getting bigger. So,
yes,
when we were all young and, centered in Delaware, and, those that were outside of Delaware would come home and be around Pop. But now, our individual families are getting bigger. Their own individual families getting bigger,
Yes, it's hard to travel.
Yeah, aunts and uncles that just had, their kids now have grandkids and great grandkids, and they got their own villages.
Yes.
Now they're the the elder of their village. You know what I mean? So yeah, I see it, and talking about it now, like it's
extremely important.
It's important, but I can see how it's hard to get all those villages together.
Yes.
So, it's going to take the villages to get this community, because I mean, if we really think about it, Tolson is a community.
Huge.
Yeah, we're a huge community with villages within it. So I think it's just going to take time. It's going to take effort. It's going to take effort from everyone to get to that point. And I'm optimistic. I'm looking forward to it. So and hopefully we can start having some conversations and talking to each other about expressing our feelings and how we feel about things, and because that's the only way we're going to move forward, and that's the only way
absolutely.
And it's the only thing it's the only way we're going to heal some stuff. It might be some ripped band-aids, but if we keep a clear head and just come from a place of love and understanding. Like you can't go into a conversation in attack mode. You have to go in with understanding and being able to receive and being able to express.
Yes. Very important.
Yeah. And I think it'll help in that grieving period. And just know that, we're here for each other. We're here to support each other in grieving periods, and not just in grieving periods, but in any period.
Yes.
And just, being able to talk things out and get an understanding. Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely think that, with time, you should definitely get back to communicating properly, and forgiveness is a huge part of it, and understanding you can express your feelings, and the delivery has to be there the right way, and not from a angry place or a passive aggressive place, because sometimes it's that as well, because for whatever reason I'd rather say it that way. I'm a straight shooter. Tell me how you feel. Really feel. I'll respect that more than the passive aggressiveness, because that will irritate the heck out of me, and then we'll be back at square one. So that's something that I have to work on for me.
And I think when we get passive about things, we allow the other person to believe that everything is good or there's no issue.
Absolutely.
And if we don't express, at that, if something's wrong or we have a concern,
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't express to me that you have a concern about something,
then I'm thinking that it's not
fine.
Yeah, we're good.
You know what I'm saying? But then every time we interact, it just this
It's
weird feeling. And then it's like, I don't know why we didn't used to be like this.
Listen.
You know what I mean? So, and then it's like years or months or years later, oh, well, you did this back then. I was like, why are you telling me that? Like, why didn't we could have been hashed this out? Like, or, you know, you might have interpreted something I said wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And let me clarify what I meant, or so that way we have an understanding of, you know, where we at. And then
give me a chance. Give me a chance to explain what I truly meant, because sometimes our minds are overworked with different things. And, you know, you have to really, like I said, be a straight shooter. Look, this is how you made me feel. I don't like it. And the person can say, okay, well, I don't know. I don't understand what you're saying. And then you can say, this is what you did. And this is where we're at. And then let that person go back in their mind and say, you know what? They'll get it at some point. They will truly get it at some point, but hopefully they will. But you know, like I said, I think you have to be a straight shooter with communicating with people. And it will eliminate all of the gray areas of, oh, well, did they mean it like that? Or did they mean it like that? I know they didn't say it to me like that because they know they're wrong. And it's just like, why don't you just pick up the phone and ask them, what do you mean? It's nothing wrong with that. Or go to them directly. Don't do it through text. Because then you go through that gray area again. And listen, I am a paragraph writer. I will tear that text up with paragraphs. So I had to learn that as well. Emails and paragraphs, I was a master at it. And I had to get out of that because it created more problems.
Yeah, and you're leaving it on the person to interpret.
Yes,
what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So yeah.
That's a whole nother subject too, because I can tear that keyboard up. You hear me?
Right. Yeah. That's good. You can. Yeah, you can't do it. You really have to have an actual voice conversation with someone. Mm-hmm.
But some people don't want to do that, Ray. Some people do not, and I had to learn that in this situation. They felt as though that talking to me created more anxiety for them because I would ask so many questions, and they weren't willing to answer the questions. So it's just like, I don't want to talk to her. And I get it.
Yeah. So like, I know for me, like if you're asking me questions and you're going to answer for me, if I don't have an immediate answer, then I'll be like, well, let me get back to you on that.
Yes.
I have to process.
Yes.
Because for me, myself, I want to make sure that what I'm
giving you is right.
What I'm relaying is being received the way I'm intended to be, sent. And so I really like to be mindful of my words and how I'm expressing myself, so that way it's clear and there's no confusion.
Yes.
Or I'm not using, the wrong context, or you know what I mean. So, so if there's something difficult that, or there's something that I really need to think about, I need time to process. You know what I mean? And, everyone's process is different.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because I may not process when I'm sitting. Sometimes I don't process when I'm just sitting by myself. I may process while I'm out riding my motorcycle. I may process while I'm in the shower. You know what I mean? So, because like sometimes I can sit and watch TV and think about absolutely nothing. And I can be asked, "What you thinking about?" I'm not thinking about anything.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here watching whatever's on TV. I'm really not thinking about anything. But when I'm in the shower, I'm probably thinking about 15, 20 different things. I'm riding my motorcycle, I'm thinking about something during that ride. So, I may not, my process is different. So I think just if you need a process, just say, look, can we get back? Can we put a pin in that and come back to it? Let me process it. You know what I mean? Because if you like, well, I don't know, or I don't want to talk about it. So now you that coming to me is like, you don't care. That may come off as you don't care. Or, you know what I mean? So instead of just saying like, all right, I let me process that and let's come back to that at a later date. You know what I mean? And then that can receive better as like, okay, you just need to process it. You're not blowing me off, or it's not that you don't care. You just need to process, and so that way you're able to communicate it properly.
Yes, I totally get it, but I need you to tell me. I need you to tell me right then and there, because I'll ask 50,000 questions, and it's just like boom, 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 and when I get in my car, it's like a whole fight, and it's just like it overwhelms people sometimes. So I've had to take a step back where, okay, let me not send all of that. Let me just do piece by piece, maybe one at a time, because I know it will overwork other people. And that's a big learning lesson. But also, for me, it's getting in my car. Like today, I rode up to Christiana and I'm sitting there voice memoing ideas for the podcast. And it's just like, I got to get it now, because if I don't, and I go in this mall and I'll forget it. Gone. But my car is one of my greatest zones of making sure that I get all of my ideas. I can turn my music up. I can listen to my rap. I can listen to my R&B, and I'm good. And it's like a free time to think of everything.
Yeah, absolutely. It's it's interesting where the way the mind works, and when you're the different levels and people and their creativity creates.
Yes.
Because like I be thinking about stuff when I can't write it down, or I can't, like, I'm actively doing something where I cannot be like, oh, let me write this down real quick.
Yeah.
Or let me type a memo real quick on my phone or whatever, like, because I'm either driving or I'm doing something else, and then it's like
it's hard.
Right. And it's like that's a good idea. And then it's like, I need to remember that. That thing's gone a lot of times.
Man. As you get older.
I'm thinking about the next thing. Like, all right, and then I start thinking about the next thing. And it's like, that's like it's like back here in my mind.
Yeah.
It's gonna be another time when I'm doing something, and then my mind's gonna bring it up, like, hey, remember this? This is what you want to do.
Yes.
I remember that like 2 weeks ago. And like, oh, I remember that. And then my mind moves on. It files it until something else brings it up.
Yeah. So I just keep saying to myself, please write it down while you have it, because I will definitely lose it. Yeah. So I think this was a good podcast. Another great podcast.
Great conversation. We always have great conversation. I love talking to you.
I know. It's crazy. We've been so close for a long time. I was just telling Jay, like, our generation of cousins are so different. So different. It's always love when we see each other.
Always, man.
I can't explain it. Like, and I'm not gonna name everyone, but I love y'all. Love y'all.
I can't explain it either. And it's crazy how when we get together, it's like, like it's like
always a good time.
Right. And it's like, we don't lose a day. It's like we will pick up like we just saw each other like yesterday.
Yeah.
But we ain't seen each other in like months or years. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So like I said, I think family is extremely important. Us Tolsons are definitely different, breeded differently. That's just what it is. I really can't explain it to you. I mean, you would have to see us in rare form. It's a lot of stuff to be discussed. It's a lot of darts that are thrown in a room, but it's all love. Definitely. If it's darts thrown, but like I said, we're in a good space as a family, and I thank God that I've had that for a balance for me, because sometimes it always has not been love with other different families, and it can get really tricky. Like right now, you saying you love me, I'm saying I love you. Some people in other families will not say that. And that's different for me, because this is what I experienced. So I can't relate to that other stuff that y'all got going on.
Yeah, that's what they call them, blended families or whatever.
Yeah, blended families. That's just
like
another separate family that handles things a little differently. Like hugging, for instance, when we see each other. Some families don't do that. And it trickles down to the kids, and then the kids have kids, and then they don't hug or kiss or whatever, and then it creates, that's a whole nother different subject. Sorry.
A whole nother different subject. But the other side of that is if we are huggers and then it gets adopted in another family because we do it.
Yeah.
Like, but anyway. Yeah. Another great conversation. Like I said, I love talking to you. I enjoy our conversations, and I'm glad that we have them. I'm glad that we get together and we have these conversations. It definitely helps me grow. It helps me think of things in a different perspective that I may not be thinking about, and I truly appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate it too.
So
yeah.
But thanks for joining me. Technical difficulties and all.
I know, right?
But until next time, stay safe.
Yes. Y'all make sure y'all wear y'all mask, please. Wash your hands. They talking about shutting down my kids' college. She's not coming back home. I tell you that. I paid my money. She's gonna stay.
You know, tell the school.
Yeah.
From school. You want to tell the school at school. But that's another thing. I'm not gonna talk about tonight, but I just a question, for you to think about. Like, since the pandemic and all these precautions of like now you constantly hand sanitizing, you wiping stuff down before you touch it, all this contactless pay that's being done, wearing a mask and going into establishments and stuff like that. Like, how often have you gotten sick since? Not like COVID sick, but like just like common cold, or, allergies and stuff like that. Like, just don't answer. Just want you to think about it.
I got some answers. So you want to record it now, or you want to wait?
No, I'm gonna wait.
Okay, all right.
Use some time process, but
all right.
Yeah.
See y'all next time.
Later.